What's up, everyone?
Nate made it. Brent's here.
Yo, into my teeth.
Brian,
Of my teeth, kid.
Yeah, I just logged on while the intro was going, so
nice.
Snuck in here
Perfect
behind
timing.
the scenes.
Dude, I wasn't that far ahead of you. My kids are like in this. I was just saying my kids are in this stage where they're like, "Yeah, I'm big now. I don't need to go to bed at 8 o'clock." I'm like,
Oh.
"The hell you don't, bro. Get in bed."
Well, both my kids are sitting right beside me right now, so they're still eating dinner right now. So,
man, the later they're up, the less late night activities I'm allowed to do. It's ridiculous. Like they're taken away from my night. Let's go to bed, boys.
Yeah, bro. Mom and Dad need some time too.
That's right, man.
Mm-hmm.
But is it 9 o'clock for Nate?
yeah.
So
Yeah, Tuesdays my daughter has softball on Tuesdays, practice and everything. So it's basically straight to work, straight to practice. That's done 7:30. By the time we get home, do everything is 8 o'clock. Get her in the shower, and then sit down and eat dinner real quick and get them off to bed here soon.
One of my kids has swim on Tuesdays. One of them swims on Tuesdays. The other one swims on Saturdays. So we got one in swim tonight, and then when they're on the way back, my wife's bringing them back. And one of their boys down the street's out playing basketball, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go play basketball with Ryan." I'm like, "Shoot, all right, fine."
Yeah. I love
friends with his dad, so we're.
It's tough when it stays late, or light so late, you know.
Dude, me and him were out there chatting. The kids are shooting hoops, and we're just like BSing. I was like, "Oh, the sun's going down." I was like, "Guys, shower, go to bed."
Which like now, like the sun's up. And now sundown goes down about 8 o'clock, and it's like now I just want to take full advantage of it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like last night, I got out, I mowed, and I just wanted to be outside. Like I did not want to come inside the house. Just wanted to be outside. It didn't care what I was doing. I was like, I just want to be outside.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Pop. Pop says, "Well, I got KOTG on Tuesdays."
He's already paid his dues, man. He's already paid his dues.
Yeah.
Kids out of the house, grandkids, the whole deal. Shoot,
that's when they're all enjoyable.
Yeah, man.
Alrighty.
Well, guys, why don't we grab a glass? I did get a Mountain Dew tonight, and keep off the grass.
Yeah, I got a water bottle here. Drink some water.
Still zero sugar, but it's major melon.
There you go.
A little caffeine.
A little lemonade tonight. One of those little
hard
Mio
lemonade
squeezers.
or regular lemonade?
It's like one of the little Mio like flavor squeezer things. You just shoot that in a thing of water. Like 0 calorie.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. Summer's coming,
Like
so I'm like,
Light.
yo, summer's coming. Cutting out the booze, clean up the diet, exercise, and I don't lose some weight.
I mean, you'll pay for it if you don't, right? I mean, mowing when it's hot in summertime, you're like, oh God, That's when you're like, oh, I should have done more before.
I should have dropped some pounds. We're going to Disney this year. I told my wife, I was joking around with my wife last night, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna be the most shredded dad at Disney in November. She was like, oh, okay. She's like, that's your goal? I was like, no, not really. I just need to tighten it up. I'm like the fattest I've ever been right now. So I'm like, gotta go. OSU Gym 99 said the same thing. Like summer bodies are made in the winter. So we're past winter time. No, the winter's for getting fat and happy and drinking your face off. Listen, that's firm believer. When the
holidays do
kind of
keep rolling.
Yeah, right.
It's hard.
Well, fellas, the name of the show is Mow, Trim, and Blow. And we got a little controversy going in the chat before we started. Someone was saying trim, mow, and blow. So, what do you guys do? Do you guys trim, mow, blow, or do you mow, trim, blow?
I love it.
Well,
people are passionate on either side.
Right.
Two different strategies here.
Okay.
Yeah. So me personally, I mow, and then obviously what I miss or what my mower can't get close to or whatever, Then I'll
be careful.
clean.
Your kids are next to you.
I know. And then I will. I'll clean
we
that
all
up.
know Nate. He's gotta be careful here.
I'll clean that up with the trimmer, and then while I got that out, I'm gonna hit my edges and stuff like that. And then when you're done with that, you blow everything off the driveway and get it all out of there. But I do know people who have the concept of, well, I'm gonna go and hit everything with the trimmer, get all the edges trimmed. Yeah. So when I get the mower to the edges, you don't have to get it up to the edges, and you can just kind of, you already got it, whatever it is, 6 inches or whatever that you've already trimmed. Mm-hmm. Oh, Olee, what? Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
trimming that 6 inches, you got a little choked up.
You got a little choked up.
But that's a true 6, though.
Was it the 6 or the trimming? I didn't know.
Honestly, I wasn't paying any attention. I just had to cough.
But yeah, so I mean, I personally, I mow first, but I know people who the theory is or the thought process is, you hit everything and go from there. But
I think also that depends on how you have your flower beds set up, right? So like if you're like me and I just have I got a hard deep edge right on my flower beds in front of the house.
Natural edge?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, just a natural edge. Like it's just I got it cut down and then slopes up into the flower bed, right? So I like to trim that up first and kind of go around the edges so that I don't have to worry about trying to ride my mower right alongside that, right? Mm-hmm. Because if I'm not paying close attention, or you got one little spot, there's a little dip, then your mower falls into the ditch, right? Into
scalp,
the edge of the flower bed, and then you scalp, a good portion. Right now, you got a big scalp spot, and it's well, I don't want to do that. So I always do the string trimmer first.
So do you don't run your mower
vertical, and then kind of?
Do you run your mower along the bed to kind of give you that outline, and then you go back and forth or whatever?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So say my house, right? My flower bed's kind of run along the house, right? And a lot of times I like to hit the diagonal. So I go right alongside the flower beds, and I'll put my wheel right kind of as close as I can kind of get it. But if you're not paying attention, or you got going a little too quick, or got one little kind of divot, you fall into that flower bed edge. Then you're gonna scalp that.
That makes sense to me. So you hit it with the trimmer, right? And then you don't have to go all the way to the edge of the mower wheel, so you don't risk falling off. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that makes sense. But then, as far as cleaning up that edge, now, do you then, do you do that before, or do you do that trimming to get that part so you don't have to go up to the edge? Then you mow, then you come back with the weed eater again to kind of get that actual inner edge cleaned out and straightened up?
No, I do it all first. Yeah, I do it all first. So I'll hit it on the vertical, so I get all those little wispies that are kind of hanging off the edge, right? So I got my hard edge here, and get all the little wispies growing into the flower bed.
There you go.
So I'll come through and do a vertical this way, and then kind of hit the edge on the grass. I'll hit the side where it's flat, and trim that back a little bit so that I'm not riding the mower right up to that edge. But yeah.
So do you think it matters if you do a trim pass at the beginning before you lay down your stripes or your mowing, if you would trim first or not? Because I got to think about this. To your point, your flower beds, your landscaping, all that. I do a trim pass around my house.
Yeah.
I do that first, and then I'll go around the outside of my property, and then I do all my stripes. So it's never thought about that. That's kind of in a way I am in a way kind of trimming.
Cleaning it up.
I'm using my lawnmower to get run right around. I mean, I literally set my wheels on the lawnmower right next to all my landscaping.
Right.
I'm doing it.
Well, and you got those concrete curbs installed the other year too. So that's that's what I was kind of getting at is. Right, different consideration than what I have. So I got the live edge, if you will, or natural edge, and you got the concrete curbs.
But actually, I don't my grass doesn't run up to the concrete curb. I actually have about Olee, what's that about? Yeah, I actually have about. I mean, I'd say maybe a 2-inch, almost, around it, and on my south side, it's much thicker. And I basically have a live edge. I was actually going to record it and kind of do some trimming on it, but I ran out of daylight and time. But I will eventually here, because that edge actually does look like a live edge. And it looks pretty. I keep that one for some reason. The south side looks a lot better, and I can keep it a lot cleaner than the north side of my house, which would be like right over here. The north side doesn't see much sunlight, and so you don't have as much growth, and just it's not as dense and not as good part of my lawn. So the gap, or just how it sits next to that concrete, isn't as good. But yeah, so.
So do you guys think it matters, like if you're going to be picking up clippings or not, or if you're mulching, if you trim first or mow first?
Well, I would definitely say if you're discharging, you're going to think about putting your discharge away from your flower beds or away from your house, in my opinion, not blow everything out into my yard and go that way. So like, and I mulch 80% of the time, and I, will discharge every once in a while, but I also think about like how my stripes are going to like be at that part of my yard. So like, and I'll make sure like, okay, like in my stripes right here. So like, that's how it's, that way it's coming from the hill to the curb. So when I do my trim pass, I start on this side of the house and I go around the back. And that way, when I come around on this side of the house, I'm coming that direction. So I'm even planning my trim pass with my stripes, if that makes sense. Because otherwise you do your trim pass and then your stripes are going to go the other way. Then you're trying to do your grass both ways, and it's not going to lay down as good. I don't know if you guys put that much thought into it like I do.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, I got a much, I think that the way that your house and your lawn structured, that's something that you kind of got to think about. But like for like me, right? Like I don't have like a big side yard like you have. Like I pretty much got my front yard and I got my backyard. I got my tiny little side yards. So I'm not really striping those. We're really terribly concerned about that, because I don't have that large kind of side yard that you have, or obviously like Olee's got. Different consideration, I suppose.
So I like to go and trim like along the house, around like the electrical boxes, all that stuff where the grass kind of gets really tall, because I don't do it every week. Every time I mow, there's sometimes where I just like, forget it. I'll let it grow again, and then I'll hit it next weekend. So it's like a every other weekend type thing. But I'll get those first. That way, when I come back with the mower, I'll do my trim pass. I'll kind of mulch up all that stuff, kind of clean it up a little bit, and then I'll do my stripes. And then at the end, I'll get my edger out, and I'll do all the edging along the lines of the sidewalk and the driveway. I like to do the edging last, after I've already mowed. I know some people do it beforehand, but I just think that if the mower wheel is going to push the grass out while you're mowing, you'll hit that with the edger. And then once it finally dries and stands up, at the very worst, it'll be leaning in a little bit versus leaning out. So that's why I like to edge at the end.
So we're going to have to rename the show, because we didn't even put edging in there. It was just.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I mean, you can use a string trimmer to do it, but I like the edger. It's easier. I'm lazy.
Well, unless you've mastered the string trimmer edging,
Quicker,
I mean, I'll tell you, I look like a first grader coloring between the lines when I try and do mine. When I watch videos,
I don't do it often enough. I'll never get good at it. You know what I mean? Like doing mowing and trimming it once a week, during the spring and summer, that's not enough practice to get really good at it. You need to be doing stuff like every day.
Yeah, the dudes, when I watch videos of guys just, doing it on like a TikTok or whatever, and it's just a perfectly, it's like, God dang, like.
Well, they're even do it on.
I wish I could.
Even do it on hoverboards. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
They'll ride a hoverboard and do it. It's like, what?
Yeah. I saw one the other night. I try not to like look at my phone too much when I'm playing with the kids, but they were sitting there building Legos, and I cracked open my phone, and like the first reel that popped up was just this guy, and he was just so steady. And I was like, holy crap. And so my little son runs over, because he's addicted to screens already. He's like, what is it? And I was like, look how good this guy's doing his edging. And he was like, oh, that's pretty good. I was like,
yeah.
Awesome. Oh, the best is
your dad's not that good.
Those natural edges, it looks so good, so smooth when they're doing that.
Well, see, and I do like the edger because the edger's got like a little thicker blade on it, so as it hits, it kind of gives that nice cutout, right? So it's giving that gap between the sidewalk and the grass, so that's kind of nice. Whereas the string trimmer doesn't quite get down that thick, but you can get it to kind of just cut the grass off pretty even and stuff. So I do like the edger for that fact that digs into the dirt a little bit, gets that separation from the concrete.
See, I only edge with the edger like once a month, but then usually probably every mow, or at least once a week, I'm usually hitting it with the string trimmer, trying to keep it, nice and sharp or whatever. But for the most part, yeah, like Bill, like I remember I saw like on one of your TikToks, someone asked like, "Do you edge every single time you mow?" I saw that comment, and I was like, "It seems like it." But
sometimes I like it. I think it looks good and clean, but sometimes I let it grow out just because I want to make, a video with it or something, or make it, more pronounced when it's done. I like doing that too, like saving up. And then you're like, yeah, that looks really good. Yeah. It's almost like a treat for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
813 King just said he was talking about rotary scissors. I know Olee's got a pair. Do any of you other guys have the rotary scissors? I can't remember.
I do not. Nope.
I was thinking about getting a set this year, but I also got to buy a new backpack.
Shit, they're like $300 or whatever it is.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like, all right, do I want to get a new backpack sprayer, or do I want to get the rotary scissors? Because I'm kind of like, I don't know. I feel like it's one or the other.
They look fun to use.
They do look fun to use, and it looks like you got just so much control over it. But
I heard they're loud.
What do you think, Olee?
Probably got to grease them up good.
Yeah, you grease them up good. They do have some noise to them because they rub.
Yeah,
oversized shaver.
Yep. But what I do is, all my beds have a cut edge, and with the commercial mower, you've got some deck that hangs over. So I just,
that's nice. Yeah.
First I mow the stripes or whatever I'm doing, and then lastly go do a cleanup pass, to whatever. And it just hangs over. And then every once in a blue moon, take the scissors and cut the scragglers, And then as far as the drive, I use the edger. I've got a real thick blade that I made. It's got real thick. So I edge. That way I get a pretty nice groove. And then from there, I maintain it with the scissors. And then lastly, blow. So. And I don't have a whole lot to like weed eat or anything. Around the mailbox, around the telephone poles, everything else, I just get it on the mower.
Yeah.
Do you do anything around like all your evergreens that are on the back side of your property?
No, they've gotten so big, and I just run down through there tight with the mower, and the deck, is under the edge of my hair. One day I want that all to be an edge cut and be mulch.
Oh yeah.
But I don't have the energy right now. I'm gonna have to find somebody to either help or somebody just wants to do it. That's gonna be
a project
each way.
Yeah.
I think it would look good though to have it cut, the edge cut, and then have maybe some laripe or something every so often, and then mulch. So
yeah.
All right, so edging and trimming, but what about mowing? I'm going to share something here real quick because I feel like, I don't know, a lot of us do a pretty good job and stuff, but for some reason, some people across the pond do a little bit. They get a little bit crazy. Right? I don't know how well you guys can see this.
That's different heights. You're not going to leave it
right,
like that.
Right. So I kind of picked this picture out just because of that. Has anybody thought about cutting at different heights to make the pattern or the stripes stand out a little bit more? Would you guys ever do that?
So for me, I don't think my grass, you wouldn't notice a difference. There's been times where I have I'm going to go mow. My first time going in is at one height, and then the mower gets bogged down, so I raise it up a notch or two, and I keep going. It's not like obvious that there's this one more shallower or lower cut stripe in the lawn. You couldn't see it in mine.
Yeah.
With that, I think it's so thick and dense that you can really see it. and it's so flat too. So all the shadows and everything, it just looks really good. But I don't think you would see anything in my yard.
I don't know if you could get away with that with like a regular rotary mower.
You'd have to use a real mower for it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's a drastic change in height right there. That's probably like half inch versus inch and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that'd be like doing 2 inches and leaving some parts like 5 inches or something, and you're, with a rotary mower.
Yeah. And something like that. I mean, that's planning. I mean, that's like weeks and weeks of saying like, okay, here's the plan. Like I'm going to cut it like this.
Yeah.
And, that way you're not totally scalping it or like, making it look nasty. Letting all those low spots grow in real good and tight.
I mean, a lot of them do have, smaller yards, probably even smaller than mine. So they have a little more time and effort to spend on this. You wouldn't want to do it in 10,000 square feet or 5,000 square feet, probably.
Right.
Well, a lot of times when I watch those guys like do their videos of like a yard that size, they'll mow it like 6 times. Like, it's like, like I'm like I watch people and they talk about double cut, and I'm like, damn, I don't even have time to double cut. Like, Olee, think about that. Like, if you double cut your lawn,
God,
it'd take you 3-4 hours to do it. Whereas, like I said, I watch these guys, and they're going over it like 4, 5, 6 times, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like, how do you know if your blade's sharp or not? Because you're going over it so many times, you're not going to have any stragglers or anything. But
it's almost like it's the lawn version of a Rubik's Cube, because they have this pattern they're going. It's not random. At least, if he's doing that, you're going over it all sorts of ways, but it's all planned out and it's very accurate. Like, I can barely keep track of doing, single doubles, and without crap, So I wanted to find out from you guys what's the hardest pattern.
How many times would you guys say, like a season maybe? Like how many times have you gone to be like, I'm going to do single doubles, and then you lose track of like where the hell you're at, and you got a line that's messed up, and you're like, oh crap, I totally screwed it up.
Or like last night I just did single doubles in my front yard diagonally after I mowed double stripes the whole thing. And then kind of like the pattern I have right back here. Yeah. And I did that, and I did exactly that. Like I went down, I turned one way, and I'm going up, and I turned around. I'm like, damn it. Like, that wasn't supposed to be, I was supposed to go the other way, or, I was like, dang it. So
it's always when you zone out and then you're at the angle where the sun's in your face and you can't tell like which way's which, and you kind of guess and you guess wrong.
Yeah. Like, oh, crap. See, but when I'm doing my double stripes, right? I don't like to double mow. So I'll do one stripe, and then I go over to like, my third stripe, and I'm trying my best to like, and like, cause I don't like, if I do my like long stripes, the next time I'm going to do my, short stripes or whatever. So it's been, every other mow. So then they're not as defined. So then I go to that third stripe and I'm looking and I'm just guessing, you know what I mean? So I'll mow this stripe here, and then I'll come over to like this one. And then when I come back, I'm over here, and I come back, I'm over here. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're like guessing where your wheel lines are going to be.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's tough, man. That's like, because I thought about that. It's like, well, I don't want to go over and leave this unmowed patch, because what if I went too wide or too shallow? Then like the wheels over, I'm like, crap. So yeah, I just go back over my lines again, or my the same path, but.
So that's what I was saying. So last night as I was doing it, I was guessing, and I got one of them. I got down. I turned around. I'm like, oh shit! Like I was
a little mohawk.
I mean, it was like 45 inches wide.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, and of course, then that throws everything off for the rest of it.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, shit. So then I had to like get back and like had to like try and get it back onto where it needs to
recover.
Be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, for some reason I just don't like. I mean, like 90% of the time for me, it comes down to time. Like. I get home from work and it's like, man, I got an hour to mow, and it's going to take me an hour to mow, and I don't have time just to, go over it twice. I love single, double, single, probably one of my favorite looking patterns. I just don't have the time. Like to do my whole yard, it doubles my time easily. Just doing my front last night, added 20, 30 minutes to my, my mow. But
What are you guys seeing so far? I mean, we're early in the season. What are you guys seeing in your yards? Because I'm really upset about my backyard. I got a bunch. I mean, it's not like totally overtaken, but like I got a bunch of like Poa Triv back there, and I'm really pissed off about it. I'm really mad, man. I mean,
are they big patches or are they like isolated little spots?
there's a couple that are like isolated, and I've gone around. I got that little Lansy weeder thing, and like the ones that it's like, oh, okay, here's like one plant to like the patchy ones. But no, I got like a big ass swath back there, and I know what it is. I mean, it's like the guy behind. So I got the chain link right behind my fence, and that guy behind me, it's just kind of like a field, like a little grove. And he mows it, but it's not like real grass, and that's where it all comes from.
Sure, yeah.
It's all just like blown in and done it, and I was like, oh man, like what the shit? Like I put my pre-emergent down, and I guess it doesn't really do much for Poa Triv.
No, because it's in the ground.
So I'm like,
and what it does is it goes to sleep when we get warm.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think about it. And then when it cools back off, it pops out of dormancy, and then it's larger.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I was seeing it a little bit
tricky
like last year. And I was like, well, I killed off half my lawn the year before. So I'm like, I don't really feel like doing that. I'll tell you what, man, that shit came back with a vengeance this year. I mean, is
there anything that you could do to hit that? Is there any?
No.
Without your own grass, yeah.
No, because it's cool season, and what you're working with is cool season.
Yeah,
you got to smoke the whole. You got to smoke the whole thing, man. You got to kill it. You Goliath it all out.
Yeah.
The only thing that I know that you could do that wouldn't hurt the fescue is
then you could use some turf mend after you do that. In the fall
to regulate.
Yeah,
and the Triv cannot handle the regulation. The rate that you regulate the fescue, the Triv cannot handle.
But to your point, like you nuke it all off, you start over with new seed. Shit, you could have Triv in that seed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So then, and I think that's what happens to a lot of people is they overseed or they start new, and then it's like, what is all this going on? What I thought I bought clean seed.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? But you may have bought clean seed, but it might still be in your soil.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
anytime you disturb the soil, you're asking for something to germinate.
Yeah, which is crazy because like I haven't disturbed any of that soil back there. You know what I mean? Like I haven't. Even when I killed off like half my yard the other year, and redid it all, I still didn't really like disturb anything, and I didn't even aerate when I seeded that. I just went through and
Do you aerate in the fall then?
I just let it go. No, I didn't. I didn't aerate this fall. So I don't know. But I mean, the backyard used to look awesome and it was great. And then like once we had kids, it was kind of, the kids are always just running around and everything gets trampled and just high traffic because it's not a big backyard. It's not like they got their little spots that they play in and we got the pool. So I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of wondering. I'm kind of to the point this year where I'm like, maybe I just keep the backyard looking as good as I can and just really focusing on the front yard. Cause it's like the kids are always playing back there. And it's like I said, it's only 2,500 square feet and I got a pool. So it's not like I have like a ton of space. They're just going to be back there kicking balls and running around with the dogs back there. So I'm kind of like, maybe I just do what I can. And
yeah, you kind of just have to
learn to live with it.
Focus on the front, put all your time and effort in the front, and just mow the back. And it is what it is. I mean,
give it fertilizer in spring and maybe some pre-emergent if you want. And just
because at least with the front, like I had, I think like 2 clumps, and I just pulled them out. So I'm not. The front's looking good. So I think I'm just going to focus on the front, and I don't know. Maybe like let it ride until I decide to like truly renovate the whole backyard. But I can't really see like when I do that because
by June
kids are just gonna screw it up anyway.
By like June or whatever, it's gonna be gone anyways because Triv will die out with the heat.
Yep.
So I don't know. I know like there's a lot of people talk about it. And I don't know. I've never even really worried about it. I don't see any in my lawn, but like same time, if it was, I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I get a lot of nuts edge here, probably like late May when you start watering and stuff like that. Like I'll start getting some nuts edge popping. But actually, I was mowing last night, and I had 3 or 4 dandelions in my yard, which I haven't seen in a couple years. So, but they were big ass like dandelions. They weren't just like, I mean, like I got out the Lansey weeder. I like that tool a lot, but I got that sucker out and popped him in and like pulled out. I mean, that damn thing had roots on it. Like, I mean, it was like huge,
dude.
And there was like, probably like
thriving.
There was like 8 little like flower heads, just waiting to pop.
Oh man!
Like, so I'm glad I got it. But
yeah,
but
how long was that root?
Oh, a solid like 12 inches.
Yeah.
It was at least 10, 12.
I knew it.
But yeah, I mean, but like I said, I mean, that's something I guess. But like, I don't see any of my neighbors' yards, so it's not like it was, you got that just neighbor that's got a ton of dandelions, so it's not like it was coming from there. So it's just a couple of random ones that were in the yard. But I don't know. It actually like it was kind of like it got me kind of like whoa, like like it was weird. I had this like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah,
what I mean? It was like
you're not supposed to be here.
Exactly. And it was almost like I don't know. It was like kind of threw me off my game because I'm like I'm mowing, and I see it, and I'm like, oh, like what are you doing? And then like I get done mowing, and like do you would you stop and then like go get your like weeder or whatever, do it? Because like probably a week ago I mowed and I saw one. And I mowed it, and then I obviously mowed it off, and I come back, and I'm like searching, and I couldn't find it, and I'm like, dang it! Like I should have just stopped and popped it out before I cut the, cut the.
If there's a, I mean, I saw a couple dandelions too, but they're mostly on the edge, like they're by my driveway.
Yeah.
I saw like 2, but I don't have any like in the like main part of the yard. I had 1 in the back, but not in the front. But yeah, if I see them, I'm like, I'm not going to mow that. I'm not going to mow over that thing. Even though at this time of year, I am primarily bagging at this time of the year because I do have near my patio, I have, I got some other, the Poa Nua, and I don't want those seeds, getting scattered around too. So that's just like, again, right alongside my patio. It's, where the dog's always wandering around and stuff. And that's been there for, I don't know, 2 years or something. But I always just, this time of year when the seed heads are on it, I always just bag. And then once it dies, in a couple weeks, month, whatever, then I'll go back to mulching. But
yeah.
So I was this close to getting my first mow in yesterday for the year. Got all my maintenance done, got my lawnmower up and running, and blades sharpened, and oil change, and all that good stuff. And of course, the backyard's full of dog poop because my daughter didn't clean it up. So I made her clean it up last night, and I was getting ready to I was like, all right, tomorrow I'm gonna do just a quick power rake dethatch, nothing to pull up anything, but I just wanted to fluff up the yard, and then I was going to mow and clean up all the debris. And of course, wake up to raining, it's all the grass is wet and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, all right, well, I'll let it dry out. This afternoon, I'll get it. Well, then we get our famous wind gusts of like 30 miles an hour all this afternoon. We got tumbleweeds starting to blow around town, so it's already started. So
it has begun.
Tomorrow, I think I will finally be able to get my first mow of 2023 in. How crazy is that? Almost the end of April.
I'm excited for you. It's about time, Brian.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
I mean, honestly, you're not even that far behind me. I've really only gotten 1 actual mow in. I mean, I went over it and mowed it like as a post winter cleanup.
Yeah.
Just to get all the little just junk out of there, the crap and the stuff, a little dead, the dormant and dead blades that break off, over the course of the winter and just lay on there. But But my only real mow where I actually was like mowing, growing grass was this past weekend. So, you're not that far behind me, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, our trees are just starting to bud. They're starting to come out, and then, the famous apple blossoms or whatever up in Salt Lake State Capitol. They're talking about how they're coming in kind of late just because it's been just a cold, long winter. So things are finally starting to wake up. So,
Bill, are you in spring flush right now?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's thick and growing. Well, it was growing fast. I was able to mulch here this last weekend, so hopefully things have slowed down a little bit to where I can hit it once a week and have some fun. I'm going to try to reel mow my devil strip and see if I can get that down to 2.5 just for fun for now. Because I mean it's been like 70s, maybe up into the 80s, and then some clouds and then rain sprinkled throughout. So it's like it's looking pretty good. Probably the best. I've started in a summer. Going into a summer before. So
yeah, that's what I was going to bring it up with. The whole mow and trim and blow. So like when you have spring flush and you're like with me, I have my sidewalks, and so if I turn around my sidewalks in my driveway, then you just you plaster the lawn clippings and everything all over your driveway, right?
Oh yeah.
So then like when you get your blower out, like you can't blow that shit off your sidewalk at all.
Not where the wheels go over it and smash it into your sidewalk and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I was gonna ask. So when you're in spring flush, does anyone change up like their style? Like, so you either you're not turning around in your sidewalk, or like, what do you guys do? Do you guys do anything different?
Try to stay off the sidewalk as much as you can, especially when it's super sappy and juicy.
Yeah. So like Olee, like you, like when you get to your driveway, do you do any turnaround or anything like that in your driveway, then go back? Or do you?
Yeah.
Like I know, like if you talk to like professionals, they'll always
I drive all over the driveway.
Like a lot of professionals will say, like do a trim everywhere. Do like a trim pass, and then when you're doing your stripes, you turn around in that trim pass, like right by the driveway, so you don't get those wheel marks or whatever all that in the driveway. It's kind of like what they would say to do. But I just didn't know, as a homeowner, do any of you guys do that, or you just say, screw it, and you get the wheel marks and go the best you can, try and blow it off there, and then whatever's left.
The biggest thing is when you do blow all that out there and it's sappy and real heavily saturated like that, don't drive on top of it, because then you just smash all the green into the concrete.
Yeah, exactly.
In other words, avoid it.
Yeah.
But
I do like to do at least my front yard. Well, I guess my backyard too. I do like to do a trim pass. Like in the backyard, I like to do it because I don't want to get too close and have to maneuver around the fences. But up front, I used to do like a trim pass and then get my stripes in. So it's kind of gives that cool little like boxed in, that boxed in effect. So sometimes I'll do that, but then other times I'll just do a straight.
You're on mute. Oh, Brian's muted.
My mic, sorry, it just told me my mic unplugged or something. So no, but anyways, I like that boxed in effect. Sometimes when you do the side, trim pass, and then you get the stripes in between them. But then other times I like to just keep the stripe going straight to the concrete and stuff like that. But
do you have a curb like that goes into your road, or do you have like where it just like slopes off, or do you have an actual drop off curb?
So I have the front yard will go, and then it's a sidewalk.
We'll
go right there, and then I'll get like the park strip or devil strip, whatever you guys call it, and then like the curb slopes down into the street and stuff right there.
But can you take your mower? Can you drive your mower straight off the park strip into the street, or is it a drop off type curb?
I can drive it down into the street.
Yeah, I wish I had that. Like, I mean, if you guys know the difference, I think it's just like locational, like what's normal or common in your area. Like for us in the Midwest, like you have snowplows, so you don't have the gradual ones. you have the hard, because the snow plows will ride right up along that curve when they're plowing or whatever. But and so
also
like me,
people from driving in your yard though, like me,
yeah.
I like to have my ditch filled in with culverts all the way down and be flush with the road.
Spikes.
That way I could just
spikes, put some spikes. That
way I could just drive out, keep the stripes all the way to the road and back. Or if I had less of a ditch, you could drive through it, but mine's a whole lot sharper than that. But if I did, I know people would be all in the yard. Yeah,
because like people always ask me, like when I run my stripes, like long ways, I don't like my boulevard. I always boulevard the other way because it's perfectly 4 passes with my mower.
Yeah.
Whereas if I do it the other way, it's it's only, so that's what, 120 inches, and I have to turn around in that 120 inches with my stripe kit off the back of it, and so you can't drop the wheels off because then you're just screwed. You'll scalp the shit out of you if you drop a wheel off. So like if you ever look at mine from an aerial drone shot, my like long stripes never go into my boulevard just because it's hard to even see it when I do it. Sometimes I'll do it, but like I said, trying to turn it in there. A lot of times when I do that, my stripe kit is hanging off the curb. You know what I mean? Is when I'm just putting my back wheels barely on there. So I don't do that very often. But
some people have those curbs that are kind of curved and sloped. Like mine's sharp down, like 90-degree angle. But I've seen the curved ones, and those are nice because some of those guys can kind of come down off into the street and come back up. So that is a cool thing if you have that kind of a curb. But I get what you're saying. Mine's not as wide as yours, but the same problem with the roller in the back. It would just be falling off, and it's not enough grass to really see the stripes anyway if you go that way. So they never match up. Yeah,
it's like yours. I think you get 3 passes on yours, don't you?
Yep.
And so have you ever tried doing it the other way?
Not at this new house. I tried it at my old house, and I tried to get like a little ramp, like a little wooden kind of ramp, but it didn't really work. Wasn't strong enough. And then I was like, I just gave up. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
But that was my one idea, is like some kind of a thing where you can kind of slide it along as you go. Yeah. Come up and down it, but it'd have to be lightweight. Otherwise you'd be hauling this extra heavy thing around. So like wood would be kind of heavy.
Yeah. But, see, I want to do like diagonals in it, or like if I run a checkered pattern in my yard, do the checker pattern on my boulevard. Yeah. But I mean, to maintain it and to there's just so much traffic in there to try, you're turning around, you're trying to stripe, you're, 2 different directions.
How many passes wide?
4.
With the Time Master?
Yeah. So it's 120.
That's huge. It's way bigger than mine. Well, good on you, Nate. Why is it so big?
Got a bigger boulevard. What can I say?
3 passes with a 21 inch. He's got 4 with a 30 inch. I can't even do the math right now.
I'm gonna have to go out and measure it, show it off a little bit. But
yeah, put some stripes on that thing.
It's going to end up being 15 feet.
Oh, at least. But yeah, so it's just. But yeah, I mean, that always bothers me though, because there's just I want to get that thing striped differently, but I end up just always mowing, the 4 stripes long ways, and then I go and do whatever else. And people always hit me up. Well, why don't you run the pattern through your boulevard? I'm like, oh. I know
easier said than done.
I think the same thing, but it's just such a pain. Well, then plus you're trying to carry the angle through your sidewalk, and then for that just little, couple mower width, it's not worth it for me.
It would look cool though. If you ever could.
I've done it. I've done it several times. When I do it,
that man, oof.
So who would do something crazy like that, right?
That's nuts.
That looks like different height.
That's different heights.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Looks like it.
Kind of like what Turf Tamer does with his kind of designs on his lawn, but
like a corn maze.
Right, like a corn maze.
Yeah.
You start and stop, and
it's pretty good. A lot of effort.
Now I saw you guys know Lawn Care Ecos or Ecos, whatever. I remember when he started, we all started meeting him. He would take a string, and he would start at one end, and he'd go to another end, just to keep it how straight he does, or to even start planning out these kind of intricate designs and stuff like that. Have you guys ever done anything used other than your vision to keep your line or your stripe straight?
My yard's too big to run a string across, I think. It's not a massive yard, but I don't know. It'd be sagging, and I haven't tried it yet.
I've heard of people doing it, but I've never tried it.
I mean, it makes sense, especially if you can, have it have tight and close to the ground. You can just kind of really follow it along with your reel mower. I mean, that totally makes sense.
I did one year. I will say this: one year I grabbed like my 100-foot garden hose, and I laid that out and got it nice and straight and everything. And I just put the mower right beside it and did it. I will say I tried that once.
That's a good idea.
Did that turn into a 2-piece garden hose?
No, it did not. So just put the wheel right beside it and did it. But that was I forgot about that.
You could take the hose and make like an S pattern and then do some like wavy stripes in your lawn. That would look good. Just kind of follow it along.
That looks silly.
It's time for you to make one of those memes where the guy's laying over there and she's like, he's thinking about other women, and he's going to say above Nate's head, he's thinking about curvy stripes.
Curvy stripes, yeah.
I think last year was like May when I ran my curvy stripes. So it's always whenever I want to change up a pattern, that's when I'll do it.
There you go.
When I want to get rid of the doubles, that's when I'll run my curvy stripes around my.
When you gonna do some zigzags?
Shit, my yard ain't big enough for that. You got definitely have some square footage for the zigzags. Bill, I bet you could, with where your house sits in your yard, like in front.
Possibly. I'd have to really pay attention. Yeah, but that would be kind of a fun thing to try.
Yeah,
that's definitely when you get lost if the sun's in your eyes.
It'd be tough. Like Olee, you got the 0 turn, so you can turn on that 90 degree. Like for someone like Zach, with his simplicity, I don't know if there's a way.
He'd be better off to do figure eights.
Yeah.
Like that chain one that I shared.
Or if there's a way he could possibly, like make some turns and stuff and do it. But
like he could do something like that.
Yeah, he could do that.
You'd have to bend it, to mow a different direction, I guess, each time. So
I've tried to do like where you have loops like that. It's if you can't really see very well where you have it mowed and kind of where you need to go, it's so hard not to make it like the perfect circle or not to go too far out or too far up. It's difficult. So I would imagine like having a string would totally help.
Possibly be done with a broom. It may have already been mowed and then it got broomed.
That's true too. Yeah, especially because it's that real low cut grass.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like a Zen garden.
But if you had like a steering wheel, right? So a steering wheel, you just kind of like turn it all the way and you turn and then you kind of like turn back and then you turn again. Like that would be a little easier in that kind of a mower.
Yeah.
Rather than a push where you're more trying to direct it and turn the wheels and stuff. So I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never tried any patterns like that. I have no interest in doing any patterns like that.
Just straight stripes, right?
Like I said, half the time I get lost trying to do single doubles anyway, so I'm way too dumb to do that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now.
Here's a I think the last one that I found looked like this one.
Yeah, no way I could do something like that. Not a chance.
That's got to be professional.
And it looked like they kind of cut out like the words and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, kind of like a stencil.
Remind me of, like Turf Tamer. Remind me of like the Turf Tamer type designs. But yeah, that would take a long time. And then you had to decide, okay, am I going to maintain this? How long am I going to maintain it? Or do I let it all grow back out and go back to stripes? So I think Turf Tamer scalps his once it's kind of grown out. He'll scalp it back down and let it reset.
It's just cool how that grass does that. That's pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm. So we do have to talk about one more thing in the end, but Bill, you want to explain what happened this week with Lawn of the Week?
Yeah. So we kind of dropped the ball, you guys. We weren't really paying as much attention as we had before, and a lot of us were in and out in the chat, so it was difficult to kind of come to a consensus. So we're gonna skip this week on Lawn of the Week. But everybody, there were some really good lawns out there. We just need to kind of banter about and pick a winner. So all your submissions from this week count too, because there were some pretty sexy lawns. So we'll be back next week. We were just kind of behind the ball on this one, but
classic KOTG week.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't pick the topic until this morning.
We finalized it.
It was an open-ended topic.
Yeah.
We just kept
discussing a little bit, but
discussing what are we gonna do? We should do this, and we should do this. We should do this, and
we didn't advertise it at all until
what is the topic?
6 hours ago or something. But
yeah, so
luckily everybody knows that we're on Tuesday nights, so they just jump on.
That's true. Yeah.
Speaking of next week, we do have a guest lined up for next week.
Yeah, we can advertise this one a little earlier.
Yes, we actually know what the plan is for next week, but Turf Titan will be joining us next week on the show. So look forward to hearing from them, an update of what they've been up to, what products they got coming down the pipeline, just kind of what's going on with them. Get an update. I think we had them on last spring. So it'd be good to get them back on and check in with them, and more than likely we'll see what we can give away.
I just put some Lawn Commander on my side yard.
Nice.
The other night. I'm waiting for it to kick in. It's already looking pretty good. My 365 side yard.
You reel mowing that?
No. Because I only have that little push reel mower, the Scott's one, which I guess is American Lawnmower Company. It's all the same. And it doesn't go low enough. I can actually drop my Honda down lower than that thing goes, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
So I've been using my regular rotary mower, but I mentioned it the other week. But my trash cans are over there, right? So like earlier in the winter when it just started first frosting, and I had to go get the trash, and I'm out there crushing grass. I was like, damn it, that sucks. Didn't think about that before it got cold. So I was crunching and breaking some stuff off. So it's still kind of it's still recovering because it hasn't really started growing hard yet. It's just kind of everything's just starting to wake up. But I was like, all right, I'm gonna hit it with a little Lawn Commander and wake it up. So it's
did you do the thatch buster at all?
No, not over there. No, I have a bottle of it that he sent me to try out, and I have not tried it yet because at the time I was like, oh yeah, I got a backpack sprayer, and then my backpack sprayer broke. So I hit him up 2 weeks ago. I was like, can I get some hose end sprayers? Because I don't have a backpack sprayer anymore.
Yeah.
So
I need to try the K9 one that they have.
I'm curious about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my backyard, everybody kind of knows my backyard to be the spotted backyard. How bad it gets in the wintertime doesn't look any better right now. So, yeah, I'd be kind of curious to see how that would work on my backyard. So,
we'll have to talk about it next week.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one.
So, we didn't really talk about how we finished up our mowing. Have you guys ever not finished with a blow
job?
Yeah, all the time.
I didn't want that to be, edited out.
Yeah, all the time.
But I mean, what would be the reasons why?
Time.
You get older. It's just you're just not you're just not feeling it anymore. You just don't have the time. You just don't have the time. Sometimes you just want to get out there. Get it mowed and be done with it. You're right.
Yeah. I'll get it out of the street at the very least. Sometimes I'll leave the sidewalk a little messier, and I'll be like, okay, well, let's let it dry, and maybe I'll come back tomorrow and hit it. But try to get out of the street, or at least up against the sidewalk, so it's not kind of all over the place. But we've been so windy lately that it just gets blown around too. So if it's dry and it hits the ground and the wind's blowing, it'll just take it. I'm like, well, that'll disperse and go its merry way. So sometimes you're kind of fighting the wind, which is fun. But I try to blow it all back onto the lawn as best I can and clean the edges out, and then keep doing that. It's super inefficient, but you just try to clean it up slowly, bit by bit.
Have you guys ever just kind of ran the lawnmower over, that area a little bit more, and hopefully it blew back on instead of going and getting the blower out and all that and hook it all up and go?
Oh yeah.
Just use the lawnmower to do it.
Yeah, it's just not as clean, not as effective, but it'll move it around a little bit.
Well, I think
as long as it's not too sappy.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, it's got to be dry for sure.
The big game changer for me was getting a battery operated one, a battery blower.
Yeah,
because I only had an electric one. And I was like, I'm not getting that damn extension cord out. Doing all this nonsense. Like I was like, nope. I just either grab a broom or just run my lawnmower over the little sidewalk out front that I got going up to my front door. I'm like, or like at the edge of my driveway. I'm like, yeah. But getting a battery operated blower was like, oh, that's way easier.
Yeah. I agree with that. I have a gas powered one, which is much more powerful. And so like what I was going to like bring up earlier was like now that you're starting to get in the spring flush and you get that, like I almost have to get that thing out to try and get as much as I can off the sidewalks and stuff. But yeah, like if you have just like a battery powered one that's, I mean, hell, now they make ones that are just as powerful, but mine, I have a little Sunjo one. It's not as powerful at all, but I'll take that thing and just run it on real quick. And yeah, I have no problem doing that one every time, but I definitely don't want to get the backpack out, fill it up with gas and just
do the whole thing.
Yeah. Like if I'm going to do that, like I did a full trim, and I'm going around and I'm blowing out like even like the landscaping and I'm doing the back patio. And if I'm getting that backpack out, I'm going to at least, have
make it worth your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That makes sense.
But,
yeah. I just have the handheld electric one, and it's nice. Sometimes I wish I had a little bit more power, but I think in that case you would need a backpack one to get that extra boost, and I just wouldn't need it often enough. So this one works just fine. It has a boost mode, but I don't really ever use that because it saps that battery out real quick. So I don't ever use the boost mode thing. But
on the Toro,
yeah, my father-in-law's got that Toro 60-volt blower, and that thing's a beast.
Yeah, man.
For being a battery powered blower, that thing cooks, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So the front lawn said his cousin uses the backpack puller to dethatch. So
if it's strong enough, you could definitely, you could hit the lawn, blow out all that.
Yeah, I mean, you got that one that who makes that one? Echo makes that one that you can blow a brick around. That we saw at GIE.
Yeah,
shoot.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
90-10, Olee says.
It's a beast.
That'd be crazy.
So, I mean, you fire one up, and I mean, it sounds like a.
You know what they need to come out with is a electric Sunjo or Greenworks little dethatcher machine where you can put batteries in. And you don't have to deal with the extension cord. That's the only tool I have that I have to plug into the wall.
I thought they did.
They make one.
Do they?
I think they do.
Yeah. They came out with it at the beginning of last year, I think.
Yeah,
there's a couple people there's a couple people we know that have it.
I have to check
I
that out.
Say, I think Girls Lawn.
Lawn. Yeah, I was thinking she has one. I don't know if is it Greenworks or Ryobi or who is it?
I'm pretty sure it's Sunjo. I'm pretty sure it's Sunjo.
Speaking of batteries, okay, like, am I the only one that notices? Like, is it Ryobi's or someone's batteries work in the Owlet mowers? Does anyone else notice that?
No.
Yeah, so like I see people with Owlet reel mowers, and I think they have what's the gray and green mower?
Ego.
Yes.
Ego.
I think that's the batteries that they're using like in the Owlet.
Or from the same factory or something.
I have no idea, but I was trying to figure that out. Yeah, someone just said Ego.
Mm-hmm.
But
cool.
Yeah,
I got a couple Ego tools. I got the string trimmer and the hedge clippers.
Yeah, for some reason, yeah. So I don't know. People obviously have seen it too because they're in the chat. But yeah, Ego batteries in the Owlet mower. I didn't know if that's the way they come or what, but that's what I noticed. I noticed that.
That's interesting.
Swap them out.
Yeah, I don't know if they're swapping them out or if that's just the way they come.
Are they different companies or are they the same parent company?
I don't know, man. That's I just happened to notice it, and I'm like, is that a freaking like Ego battery and an Owlet? So maybe someone in the chat knows, but Owlet uses the Ego battery. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Cool.
Interesting.
But
Yeah, it could be cheaper for them just to use somebody else's design, like lease it out, not come up with your own. Maybe.
Who builds what for who?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably
It's the same company building it for everybody.
I mean, like Briggs and Stratton engines are on mowers, and Toro didn't make that. So yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Well,
all right, guys. What do you
boys.
say?
Take it
Kind
down.
of close up for the evening. Until a few hours ago. We love the support. We love the community. So keep coming back. Next week we got Turf Titans.
Yeah, thanks,
so
guys.
Be here, be early.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Thanks for listening to us rant.
see you next week, fellas.
See you next week.
All right, boys and girls. See you later.
Hawks.
Thanks again.
Remember, keep off that grass.
Keep
Yeah,
off the
buddy.
grass.